Every single one of us has wounded parts. These are the parts that think, I'm not good enough, or I'm not supported by life, or something's wrong with me. And these parts of us are craving what Ram Dass describes as our loving awareness. And when we bring our loving awareness and our heart-centered attention to our wounded parts, we alchemize them and we live more and more in the heart. Welcome to Living in the Miracle Zone. This is the place to be if you want to live in the flow of synchronicities and miracles in your everyday life. I'm your host, Marci Shimoff, and I'm a #1 New York Times bestselling author, a teacher in The Secret, and the creator of the worldwide program, Your Year of Miracles. I have spent my life studying happiness and miracles, and in this podcast, we bring to you extraordinary miracle stories that will inspire you and groundbreaking miracle tools that will show you how you can live your most miraculous life. It's my heartfelt intention that we have a fabulous time together. So welcome to the Miracle Zone. And today's episode is inspired by my recent experience of getting to visit Ram Dass's home. And he passed away a few years ago, and people still come together there for gatherings. And I was really excited to be invited to a small singing event at his home. I've been a fan of Ram Dass's since I read Be Here Now back in, I think, 1974. I considered it my Bible. It was my go-to book. And later in life, I got the opportunity to meet and spend time with him. I had him over to my home for a few times. And in 2011, our books came out at the same time. And my book was Love for No Reason, and his book was Be Love Now. So they were both books about love. And we had an opportunity to do an interview together, a conversation together about love. It was one of my treasured conversations. And little spoiler alert, I'm going to share a short clip of that with you in a little bit. And if you've seen any of the documentaries that came out about Ram Dass's later years, you might remember seeing him sitting in his chair in his office where he'd look out at the ocean in front of him and he would speak to people who came by to soak up their time with him. And so while I was there, I got to go into his office and see where he sat and sit at his altar. And you can still really feel a lot of his energy there. And on his chair, there's this beautiful painting of him with a great big smile, and you can feel his blissful energy just radiating throughout the room. And if you're watching this via video, you're going to see a couple photos of me at his home and sitting next to that chair. And he also had a great library of books. And so, of course, I went and looked at his books that were on his bookshelf, and I found the exact copy of Love for No Reason that I sent him almost 12 years ago. And I took it out, and it had my inscription in it to him, and it was very well worn and loved. So I loved that you can tell when a book has been used, and it was one of those that had been used. And what I am so grateful to Ram Dass for is that he is all about the heart. He was all about the heart. He had a saying that the most important journey that we ever take is that 18-inch journey from the head to the heart. Now, back in the late 90s, Ram Dass had a stroke, and he said that it actually forced him to live from the heart. And so today, in memory and honor of Ram Dass, we're going to do a process to take that journey, that 18-inch journey from the head to the heart. And it's called an Alchemy of the Heart process. And it's about bringing our loving awareness to the wounded parts of ourselves. And first, I want to play a very short clip of the interview that I had with him all those years ago.
I want to thank you because you're transmitting the being of love now.
Wow.
So I'm curious. I mean, really, what we're really about is how can anybody move more and more into that state of being love?
I think you have to move your identity from your ego, which is up here, down to your soul, which is about the middle of your heart, there. And when you're in your soul, then you will see everything as lovable.
When you're in your soul, when you're in the soul, then you see everything as lovable. And that leads us into what we're talking about today. We all have the wounded parts of us, which can trigger pain. And these are the parts that we try to push away or we try to ignore or bury because they don't feel good. They're not comfortable. And we all have them. And I really believe that all wounds point back to the same basic thing. And that is some version of I'm not okay, or I'm not good enough, or something's wrong with me. Or maybe for some people, their wound might show up as, I don't feel appreciated, or I feel taken for granted, or I don't feel seen or understood, which ultimately usually all go back to I'm not good enough or I'm bad or something. So we know that they're wounded parts because of the pain that they bring up in us, and they're always based on some kind of judgment or lie. And I want to share with you one of my versions of a wounded part. One of my versions is this thing called comparison. Maybe you've had that in your life as well. I got it from my mother when I was growing up. I would do something and she wasn't conscious or aware of this, or she never would have done it. But if I would do something, she would always say, "Oh, honey, that's wonderful." But then she would immediately ask the question, "And how did everybody else do? How did you do compared to the other people? Where were you in the class?" It was this comparison thing that got instilled in me from a very, very young age. And I now know that this was one of the spiritual lessons that I took on in life. I think we each have a different curriculum that we're here to learn. And for me, part of my curriculum was to learn how to move through this comparison scenario in life. It tends to come up for me, it can come up in a number of different ways. And with all of our wounds, the best thing to do is to bless them, open to them, learn from them, love them, because they're like thorns that poke us because they're looking for our loving attention in order to be healed. So I want to share with you 3 steps that I have identified as a way to really deal with whatever that wounded part is. So the first step is to lean into it. So instead of ignoring it or squelching it, which doesn't work, we've all heard the expression that what we resist persists. But what we feel, we heal. So what we really want to do is to lean in curiosity to that pain. That wound is an area of tight energy that just isn't free. And when we can really be with it, there is so much energy in there that can be released, and there's freedom and there's light in it. How do we turn to face it? We turn to face it with, I think, 2 C's. The first C is courage. It really takes courage to be with what is painful. And I've heard from a dear friend recently the expression, I turn and I face the wind. I let it just be there with me. And then it takes the second C. And the second C is curiosity. How can I be curious about what this is? So right now, I just ask you to identify what's one of your wounded parts. It could be something that came up for you recently that's been painful. Something that's like your sign, oh, there's something here for me. Or it could have been something that happened 10 years ago or even more. But find that pain point, that wounded part. And as we go through this in the next few minutes, lean into it with courage and curiosity. So then the second step is to take a cosmic perspective. And this is a step that for me really helps because it's about understanding something bigger is going on than the current understanding that I have. I have a limited perspective about why this is happening. There's some cosmic reason for this. So for example, with my comparison things, one of the ways that it shows up is that I compare myself to really great orators, people that are just, I think have this absolute gift of speech and inspiration. When I compare myself to them, what I'm doing is I'm disrespecting my own gifts. I'm not honoring my own gifts. Now, it's one thing for me to see someone give a speech and be really moved by it and think, wow, that is an amazing speaker. And it's another thing to use it as fodder for my comparison pattern in order to make myself feel less than. So for myself, this cosmic perspective is really to actually use my devotional heart to respect the divine gift that I was given. What is my curriculum? What is my specific strength? I feel like my strength is to really step into my own healing. I am persistent about growing and healing and awakening, and to find what really works and to share that with as much authenticity as I can with people. And that's what my curriculum is on the planet, to find my own path that works and to share that authentically with people. And I don't think that the divine made a mistake. So I really want to trust and honor that is my curriculum. And I think that when we trust in the universe and honor our cosmic perspective for our curriculum, that frees us from any patterns that hold us back. So now the third step. The third step is energetic. And the third step is to allow your loving awareness to be the alchemy of the heart for healing. I think Ram Dass's favorite mantra was the mantra, I am loving awareness. I am not this wound. I am not this challenge. I am not this pain. I am loving awareness. So as we identify more and more with that I am loving awareness mantra, I bring compassion from that loving awareness to the wound. And I think that's how these wounds ultimately energetically shift. So those are the three steps. We first lean in with courage and curiosity. And the second step is to take a cosmic perspective. How would the divine see this? Why did this happen for you? And the third step is to allow the energy of love, your loving awareness, to be the alchemy to shift this with compassion. So I want to do a little process right now that's an adaptation of an alchemy of the heart process that Ram Dass used to use. And it's a process that really helps us embrace our wounded parts with the light of our loving awareness. So I'm going to play some music by Jim Oliver. It's called The Radiant Heart. And we'll do that as we do this alchemy of the heart meditation. So if you would, please close your eyes and get comfortable where you are. If you're driving while you're listening to this, you may want to come back and do the meditation once you're home and you can fully relax and let go. And begin by taking some nice, deep breaths into your whole body. Just feel yourself settling into your chair and breathing in ease. And on each exhale, just let go of any tension. Allow that to just drop to the ground. Breathing in ease. Exhaling stress. Breathing in love. Breathing out contraction or fear. And now bring your awareness to a wounded part of yourself. This could be what you identified just a little earlier. This could be a tender place in your heart that's calling for your gentle attention. It could be a challenging situation that you're in right now, or something that you felt recently, or even something from long ago. Just notice what old stories this brings up. And what old feelings? You could be feeling fear, or saying to yourself, I'm not safe, or I can't do this. Just allow yourself to acknowledge the wound. See it as a tender and vulnerable part of yourself that just needs your love and attention. And now, very gently, shift your focus to the center of your chest, to your heart space. And imagine a warm golden light filling up that heart space. And with every inhale, this light expands. It's like a gentle wave of ease and comfort that washes over it. You feel your breath flowing in and out through your heart, creating a soothing rhythm. Imagine a warm golden light that surrounds you and cocoons you in a very soft embrace. And now imagine a compassionate, very compassionate presence that's standing in front of you. It's a being that is radiating pure love, pure kindness, pure compassion. And you feel a connection. It's as though there's a sacred cord between your heart and their heart. And the being is pouring their boundless love and compassion into your heart, and you take that in fully. And now you merge with that compassionate presence. And in this space, you say silently to yourself Ram Dass's favorite mantra, I am loving awareness. I am loving awareness. I am loving awareness. And let this loving awareness spread throughout your whole body, filling every cell. And allow this warm, loving energy to just flow through you like a healing balm. And now bring again to your awareness that wounded part. And allow the wounded part to be met completely by the loving awareness. This is the essence of unconditional love that accepts your wounds fully. Allow the wound to be bathed in this compassion. Allowing it to be released as though you're offering this up to your loving awareness. And that loving awareness transforms everything into greater love and light. That is alchemy. So take a moment to just feel the presence of this love with you, cradling you, cleansing away anything that's ready to be washed away, and allowing you to feel lighter and more at peace. And take a deep breath and thank yourself. Thank the compassionate being that you are, your own loving awareness. And this practice of loving the wounded part isn't just for now, it's a journey of continuous self-compassion. So carry this loving awareness with you. And we're gradually going to bring our attention back to the room where you are. Take a nice deep breath. Feel your feet on the ground. Stretch your arms Wiggle your fingers and toes, maybe shake yourself a little bit. And when you feel ready, you can slowly open your eyes. Now you can listen to this anytime you want. You can bring your loving awareness to yourself, and it will always alchemize whatever is going on in your world into love. So as you go through the rest of the day, I invite you to be compassionate with yourself. Practice seeing everything and anything that you encounter from your heart. As Ram Dass would say, when you're in your soul, which is in the heart area, then you'll see everything as lovable. That heart, which is the entryway to the soul. So thank you for listening today. I hope that you are feeling inspired and uplifted and more in the miracle zone after our time together. If you enjoyed this episode, we so appreciate your 5-star ratings and your reviews. And please share the Miracle Zone love with your friends and family. And if you'd like to live more in the Miracle Zone, you can take our free 2-minute quiz to find out what your miracle superpower is and how you can lean more into that. So you just go to quiz.youryearofmiracles.com. And remember, your life of miracles is waiting for you. It is your birthright. May you live each day more and more in the Miracle Zone.